details. Joining us now is the ranking Democrat on both of those committees. Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland is here. Thanks very much for coming in.
Good being with you, Will.
Here is the letter that the Secretary of Staff just sent Darrell Issas, the chairman of the other committee that you're on, saying he's ready to come. There was a subpoena. He's willing to testify either June 12th, June 20th, but he also says in this letter the Secretary will not, if he testifies before Issas committee, and you're the ranking Democrat on that committee, he won't testify before the select committee that Trey Gowdy, the Republican congressman from South Carolina, is chairing. You're the ranking Democrat on that committee. What exactly is going on here?
I think the Speaker has lost control of ISA. Mr. ISA is trying to interject himself into the Select Committees of business. Keep in mind, well, when the Select Committee was formed, what the Speaker said was everything comes under the Select Committee. And now here we have Mr. ISA trying to bring the Secretary in. And the Secretary is saying, you know, I'm going to come, but I'm just going to come one time. This is it.
He's just going to go to the ISA, the ISA committee.
And by the way, Wolf, it undermines the Select Committee. It undermines, and this is the very thing
because
that we're worried about. Because I thought if there was a Select Committee, that would supersede the other committees. This is the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. That's right.
They've been holding, as you well know better than anyone, they've been holding a lot of investigations, a lot of hearings on the Benghazi terrorist attack.
That's exactly right.
But I assume that once there was a Select Committee that the Speaker put together, 7 Republicans chaired by Trey Gowdy, 5 Democrats. Nancy Pelosi has now agreed to cooperate, to participate instead of trying to snub it, if you will, that would take precedent. But what surprises me is now that Kerry's willing to go before ISIS committee, not the Select Committee.
Well, I think he's trying to obey a subpoena. He hasn't gotten, by the way, a subpoena from our Select Committee because we haven't been really formed yet. We haven't gotten it all together yet.
You've met with Trey Gowdy, now the chairman.
Met with Trey.
How did that go?
It went very well. And I can tell you, I would think that Trey would be a little bit upset about this. I mean, in other words, it's his committee now, it's the Select Committee, and now he sees ISA operating on the outside. And the Speaker said it would not be a circus, but we've got a circus on the side.
Now, explain to me, you understand this, he was a senator, John Kerry, during that tragedy in Benghazi. So he played no role. He has no firsthand knowledge of the decision-making process that was going on.
That's exactly right.
So explain why he has to be subpoenaed. I know Darrell Issas got a rationale for that, but what is the rationale that you've been told?
I don't know. I mean, I think what he's saying, what the ISIS said is I want to bring him in and possibly embarrass him. He says in that letter, he said, and they told us, there are other people, like the custodian of the records, who could give him much better information, because all he wants to know is about the records that he's trying to subpoena.
Did Trey Gowdy say to you what the most important question he wants answered by the Select Committee?
No, not yet. But that's one of the things that I asked him to do, to come back. We're going to meet next Thursday. Come back and tell me exactly what the purpose of this Select Committee is and give me some kind of scope. You cannot do an investigation unless you have scope of what you're trying to answer and where you're going.
I want to play a couple sound bites on an unrelated matter.
Sure.
It's a sensitive issue that's come up. Jay Rockefeller, as you know, the senator from West Virginia, making a pretty explosive charge against a whole bunch of Republicans. The Republican Senator Ron Johnson, Wisconsin, very upset about the suggestion that Republicans are going against the president on a whole bunch of issues like Obamacare because of the president's race. Listen to what both of these senators said.
Sure.
I'll be able to dig up some emails that make part of the Affordable Care Act that doesn't look good, especially from people who've made up their mind that they don't want it to work because they don't like the president. Maybe he's of the wrong color, something of that sort.
It was regrettable, and I would say it's offensive. Seems I'm the only one in the room here really talking about opposition, that you would play the race card, that you would say opposition to Obamacare necessarily must stream from some inherent racism.
Did Senator Rockefeller go too far?
You know, I can tell you, Rockefeller is a friend, and I have a tremendous amount of admiration for him. You know, I don't know whether he went too far or not. I try to stay away from the argument, and let me tell you why, Wolf. Facts from the problem. Every time anybody even mentions race, what happens is we get caught up in the race issue, but we don't deal with the problem. For example, all these Republican governors that will not expand Medicaid, so that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will be covered. That concerns me. And Democrats have said over and over again, let's expand Medicaid. Republicans have said no.
But you could be critical of the president, and you can disagree with him, and you disagree on a whole bunch of policy issues, but you don't have to bring race into it.
You don't have to bring race, and that's why I don't raise race, because exactly what's happening here. Our interview then becomes about race as opposed to people who are sick and who are suffering, and I see them every day. And I'd rather concentrate on them because race becomes a distraction. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it becomes a distraction. And I think, and both senators are good men. I know both of them.
They're both good men, and I was a little surprised. Senator Rockefeller,
but I try to stay away from
bring up. If you can disagree with the president on Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act,
but there are a lot of people who wonder why everything that this president proposes, Republicans go against them. Even things that they believe in, even things that would hurt their constituents. They wonder, you know, and I leave it to them.
But when George W. Bush was president, a lot of Democrats would go against him no matter what he was doing.
That's why, and that's
nothing to do with race.
That's exactly right. And that's why you have to be very careful in those broad kind of accusations.
Politics is politics.
Politics is rough, man.
Yeah. You don't like politics, get into something else. Hey, Congressman, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you, Wolf.
Always good to have you.